Hi guys, this is Maria and Manos, and you're watching On the Couch with M&M.
The show to help you build fun and profitable businesses. Hi guys, and welcome back to part 2 with Jet Xavier, high performance and mindset coach. Welcome back, Jet.
Thanks, mate. It's been a long 2 weeks.
We haven't moved, but that's okay.
We actually haven't moved.
This is our second episode. We had so much good value, so we thought we're going to do take 2 episodes with Jet.
Yes.
This time, and just before we finished on the last episode, if you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen to that so it can set you up for this one. We're talking about
wellness in real estate,
Yep.
the balance, the integration now, they call that now.
Yes.
And we're talking about the Revive
The results.
projects, the results from the inaugural study. And
Yep.
what were the key findings? But more importantly, what were the tools that people
Yes.
are actually using that
That's the
are
one.
working there out there in the marketplace?
So what this project gave us last year was the building blocks, the starting point, yeah? So like I said, 60% stressed all the time, physical symptoms of anxiety up to 50%, work impacting family, relationships, etc. But also what came out of the report were a couple of themes, especially from the roundtables and discussions we've had with various leaders and people like yourselves in the industry. And some of the themes were that the industry suffers from the fact that no one's encouraged to put up their hand if they're struggling, if they're overwhelmed. They're
People
finding
are
it tough.
suffering in silence.
People think, oh, well, if you're depressed and suicidal, then we'll listen. It's okay. Then you've got something to talk about. But if you're in the between or at this end and just having an off day, who cares? It's still back in that old school. Get on with that harden up type of message. Suck it up type of thing. Get on with it. And I guess
is really, the industry's come a long way because that's what it was like 10,
really,
15,
look,
20.
I think
suck it up.
There's an element of that that's okay. Real estate was built. All success is built on that. Come on.
Yeah.
This is what you signed up for. Punch yourself in the face every
That's
morning
it.
before you get out there. So there's an element of that. But still, because the report reflects this, we still need avenues and environments and cultures where people are encouraged to go, hey, look, I'm struggling a little bit. I mean, Nathan Castley from Owens Castley in South Australia spoke at Revive last year, and he said his business pretty much changed when he put his hand up and said, look, I'm finding this hard. So many moving parts, lots happening, building a very fast, accelerating business. I don't know what I'm doing here sometimes. I need help. So for someone like that to put their hand up, it sets a great example for others to do that.
Nice.
So that was one
Alex
of the...
and Nathan.
Yeah, they're cool.
Amazing.
So that was one of the big themes that came out of it. The other one was the hustle and grind, and that everything's about working yourself into the ground to become $1 million agent and to do that. Now, nothing wrong with working hard, and there's nothing wrong with being $1 million agent.
Aspiring for that.
Well, why not? Aspire for whatever you want to aspire for. But when there's an impact, a negative impact, we've got to at least have the conversations around, hang on, is this the right model? Is this actually working? When we've got statistics that reflect that. So that was another key message that came out. The other message, which was a strong one, was the onboarding process in real estate. Get your certificate, get your phone, get your desk, get your patch, off you go. Bit of training, bit of support, good luck, here we go. And what happens is, we've got people, and that's in property management as well, the same type of thing. We've got people that aren't built to cope with an environment that they're potentially not used to, which is a stressful, pressured, high expectation, deadline-driven type of environment. So you're taking people that aren't trained, they're just thrown into that, and we're wondering why we've got these statistics.
But it's such a highly emotional field. I mean, I know entering real estate was a totally traumatic period for us. I say it openly.
Cope very well.
I did not cope at all. I remember
the rejection,
just not used to it. Totally foreign environment.
So there's no onboarding for that. There's onboarding as far as your skill set, how to run your CRM.
But how do you cope with other people's?
How do you cope?
Because you
how's
take
your
on
emotional intelligence? How's your communication skills? All of that type of soft skills, as they call it in the corporate world, how are all those things, how are you at those things? How
and
do
some
you
people
deal
are
with stress?
naturally good at it, and the ones that they're not,
the majority are not.
The majority are not.
And that's why the statistics reflect that, because we don't have, in AFL, they sit you down, they teach you about your finances, they teach you about relationships. What do you say in public? They put you through an onboarding process. And the big theme that came out was that we need that type of thing in real estate.
Yes.
We need that type of thing. And the stuff that John Cunningham's doing in Sydney with the professional ethics certification that's coming out as well, which is going to lift the professionalism of the industry.
Yeah.
He's totally supportive of this type of thing, and hopefully we can merge this type of research with what they're doing across the board nationally with professional ethics, and at least give people that come into the industry a chance to be able to survive and build sustainable careers. Rather than being
and enjoyable.
And enjoyable, yeah. It should be fun.
Yeah.
It's tough, it's hard, but it should be fun,
Oh, yeah.
So there were three key things that came out of it. So it's giving us the building blocks. It's giving us a starting point. And this year is about going out there within the think tanks and going, okay, well, what do we do about this then? If these are the themes, if these are the statistics and what's the reflection of what's happening in the industry, where do we go from here? You tell us. I'm just one person. Yeah.
Where do you see it? Like, what's your long term?
Just globally, if we look at wellness and wellbeing practices, real estate's a little bit behind the game. It has been in a lot of areas, but it is in wellness and wellbeing. What's happening? Obviously, the big companies, the Googles and the massive companies around the world have got high-level wellness and wellbeing practices. They've got the gym, they've got this massage, they've got the yoga, they've got the pizza night, they've got the fruit bowl, all that type of stuff, and they've got the gym membership, and so that's where wellness and wellbeing sort of started. And some real estate offices have taken that up and they're doing the same thing. But globally, where wellness and wellbeing is going is it's staying there, but it's sort of moving and shifting as well into the mental health
education
of people in your business. You can get a mental health first aider certificate now. So your corporation can have a specifically identified person who's a mental health, not a counsellor or a doctor or a therapist, but a mental health first aider. And so wellness and wellbeing in the corporate space and in real estate is shifting into that type of model. So that's where we're sort of heading down the track. And I think that's important because what's going to happen, it's like the Are You OK message, yeah? What has that done? That's got people to go, okay, hang on a second, now I'm conscious about other people around me, not only myself and my close family members, but now I'm conscious of people around me in my workplace. And I think, you talk about tools that we can use, that's one thing we need to look at. How are we set up as businesses where we're on the lookout? Not counsellors, not doctors, not psychotherapists. That's not our job. Yeah. But how do we identify? How do we become aware? How do we be vigilant about those that are around us? What avenues do we give them to be able to voice how they're feeling maybe and what's going on if they're not coping, etc., that type of thing? And then how do we meet those types of needs generally, whether it's an outsourced type of contact that we use. So there's some of the things that are changing based on the base of this. But the key thing for this year is getting people like yourselves to get together and go, okay, where do we go from here? What do we need to do now? Research is there. The themes are there. Where do we go from here? I mean, if we look at it practically, some things that people can do that might be watching this, that might feel a bit overwhelmed, stressed, under pressure, that type of thing. I think there's a couple of things we can look at. The first thing is simplify. Yeah, just simplify your life. I moved from the Gold Coast from Sydney to the Gold Coast. I sold everything I had. I gave away most of it. I packed 3 guitars, clothes, all my books in a 4-wheel drive that I hired, and I moved to a rented apartment, fully furnished. I own nothing. I just said, I've got to simplify my life. Cut my debt down, paid off a lot of stuff. I just tried to simplify it. You know how refreshing that is? To only have like 4 or 5 pairs of socks that you have to keep washing because you run out of them quick enough, rather than 20 and you keep losing them all the time. So simplify is the first thing.
That's not going to work in our house.
Yeah, no.
Because the kids take menopause all the time.
But it's such a common theme, and if anyone hasn't heard of or isn't following Tim Ferriss, he professes to that.
He's amazing.
He's absolutely. He's probably brought it to the forefront back in late 2000.
It's a philosophy
It's a philosophy.
The generations are coming through now that just go, hey, we don't need all this stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
We just don't need it. We need real experiences. Real connections.
It's called the new rich.
Real jobs, that have that sort of purpose. There's a great documentary called Minimalist. If you want to get right into it, that just takes the cake for that type of stuff. So anyway, that's the first thing. Secondly,
so simplifying your life, so decluttering.
Decluttering, but decluttering mentally.
That's it.
Decluttering spiritually, decluttering emotionally, decluttering physically, decluttering at work, decluttering friends. I mean, you can just simplify. Just get back to the basics. And what are the basics in life? You have a baseline of good happiness and contentment, and you're interacting with those around you that are in your circle and sphere. Second thing is be present. Eckhart Tolle talks about we're always trying to escape this moment. And then when we get to the next moment, what are we doing? We're trying to escape that moment.
Yeah.
When we get to the next one, we don't want that one.
It's the language that we use sometimes. I can't wait for this and I can't wait
Yeah,
for that. And I go, well, what about just enjoy it now?
Or we're
the
thinking about the
journey to
past.
it? Yes.
We're focusing on the past.
Yeah, yeah.
He says it's almost like we're trying to escape this moment. But this moment's all that we have.
Yeah.
And this is it. And,
Enjoy it.
And what that does when we're doing that, trying to escape this moment consistently by being in the future or being in the past, is it creates incredible amounts of anxiety and incredible amounts of stress. So it's self-inflicted. We bring it on ourselves. So be present. That's important.
That was number 2.
That's number 2. Number 3, slow down. Richard Carlson, who wrote the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff.
Yes.
He said if we would just slow down, if we would just slow down enough, happiness would catch up to us.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? If we would just slow down, happiness would...
It's so true. Yeah.
It's what they call now hurried sickness. Yep, it's that constant urgency or nervousness and got to do something. I've got to be busy. I've got to get there. I can't wait.
Always looking at our phone. Always looking
at the
feeds,
phone. Always doing something. Hurried sickness. We just need to slow down.
Never heard of that one before.
We just need we need to slow down. So we need to walk slower. We need to talk slower. We need to breathe slower, and we need to think slower.
Can't talk slow if you agree.
Yeah, I know. Hang on.
In English,
some cultures will have difficulty with point number 3, talking slower.
So we have simplify,
be present,
and slow down.
And the last one, which I think is the most important one out of all of these, is we need to detach. Yeah, the Buddhists say that all suffering comes from attachment. Yep. And if you think about everything that makes us angry, frustrated, annoyed, discontented, if we think about all that stuff, it's coming from something that's not happening that we want to happen. We lose a listing. Someone doesn't listen to us. Something doesn't happen. We
let it go.
Let it go.
We've got to let it go. We've got to not be attached to outcomes. We've got to be able to go, okay, I did my best in that situation.
Yeah.
It didn't work out the way I wanted it. I got to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I'm attached to
good
it,
at that.
You're excellent.
Yeah. If I'm attached,
I am. If I know I've done everything that I possibly could,
you just make a judgment call. Did I do what I could?
Yeah.
And even if I didn't do what I could,
Yeah.
and it's out of my control now, I've just got to detach from it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is every day we're attaching to something, that load gets heavier and it gets heavier and it gets heavier.
But sometimes that one thing doesn't happen because something else is going to happen around the corner that's meant to happen that's bigger than that.
Well, that's an existential way of looking at it.
And that's spiritually, because Well,
that's a philosophy that you have that works. But
Yeah.
for most people, look at a kid with an ice cream. If he doesn't get his ice cream, what does he do? He screams. He's attached to getting that ice cream. Look at relationships. If your partner doesn't listen to you, you get annoyed because you're attached to that outcome.
To the outcome.
You wanted them to do something that didn't happen. The building and pest fell over. You're attached to that because you're thinking, I've got to have that happen to get this. And when it doesn't happen, your world falls apart. So the fourth thing is it underpins all of those things. If you put those together, your stress will go down,
Yes.
your anxiety will go down, frustration will go down, tolerance will increase around different things that happen in your world.
Yeah.
And you'll be a far more happier and more free-flowing person who doesn't get stuck in that vortex of overwhelm that happens in
And you're
in
probably
real
going to
estate.
perform better.
Yeah, you perform.
100%.
Of
You
course.
perform better
Well, of course.
and you produce and actually produce
You're going to
more.
feel better
You're
within
going to
yourself.
feel
Which is
Whenever
the
better.
you're
most important
stressed,
thing.
yeah.
It all starts with that, I think. Yeah.
There's good stress and bad stress. Sometimes you need stress because if you're sitting in a listing presentation and it's like, wow, I got to make this happen.
Yeah.
You need that stress to be
Yes.
there. Yeah, you need that adrenaline. And you
It's
need
a
to push.
positive stress.
It's a positive stress. But if you're stressful, frustrated, annoyed, disappointed, if that's consistently happening, which it does happen to people just in generally in life, then that has an impact on your health. It has an impact on your emotions. It has an impact on your clarity, on your focus. It has an impact on your drive. It has an impact on your physiology.
Yeah.
And so we're a complete being. We're mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
That's right.
If those four things aren't lined up in the morning before you go out onto the field, how can you play at your best?
You can't.
You can't play at your best. And so
And you're vulnerable.
and of course you're vulnerable. Yeah. And like I said, it gets in there a lot quicker and it impacts you a lot faster than it normally would if you're able to embrace those things that we talked about, slowing down, being present, simplifying and letting go.
So the upcoming event is in July.
July the 29th and 30th, Sheridan Mirage on the Gold Coast, right on the beach.
Fantastic.
That'll be amazing.
It will be amazing. It was amazing last year. We had over 100 people there. We're going to get a couple of hundred there this year.
Tell some of the stuff that you did apart from having the speakers. You did some yoga.
So we did yoga. We had a chill out zone. We had beanbags down the front that people could sit in.
Yeah.
We had gratitude walls. We had yoga on the beach. We had a sound healing session.
It'll be amazing.
So all the stuff that just gets people to relax and chill out. And it was a big 2 days of people reflecting, and it was a life-changing experience. And I'm very proud of what we did there because it hasn't been done in the industry before. And from the reports, we had 99% of people say that the event across the board scored us 99%.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just an amazing event. It went better than I thought it would. It's been having a bigger impact than I thought it would have. I think because people they want to be free.
They're craving for that.
They want to have fun. They want to have a life. They want to enjoy work. They want to have family time. They want to be healthy. But it's not real estate's fault. Yeah, I mean, someone asked this question. Well, hang on a second. It's not just real estate industry that's making this happen, and I think that's right. I mean, a lot of it's self-inflicted,
of course,
because we're not simplifying things.
I'm sure
we got so much debt. It's like that causes pressure, and then we come to work, and then we got to work in that pressure. So there are a lot of variables that impact on why this is happening. But if we can do just a little bit to start this movement, I think a lot of good people are going to come on board and go, okay, let's make this a thriving, flourishing industry that people come into, and they're better off when they leave than when they came into it, as opposed to being, generally speaking, worse off.
Yeah. Come out of it a little
Sounds
bit.
amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Sustainable businesses.
Sustainable businesses.
That's what we're looking at.
Sensational.
So.
Also, I think
zero burnout.
We're going to do a Skype call in, and we're going to do a video.
Yes,
maybe
we
we'll
can
talk from Crete.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome. Done.
We can do that.
We can do that, definitely.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
But I'd rather be there doing the interview.
Yeah, no.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Reschedule
so. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that for the next
Jet,
one.
thank you so much
Thanks,
for joining
guys.
us. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And
Great having
guys,
you. It was
thank
really
you for
awesome.
listening. I hope you enjoyed the last episode.
Revive2018.com.au.
That's the one.
Perfect.
Yeah, at least just go to the
Sam's going
site.
to put it on the bottom of the
At least go to the site and have a look and see what we're doing.
And as always, if you've got any questions for Jet,
Hit me
let
up
us
on
know.
Facebook.
Yeah,
Done.
that would be awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again. See you next week.
Cheers.